Hello. My name is Alex. I don't think that I've ever done that in a video. I guess before I used to make videos just for me, but now I know sometimes that I'm going to make videos with the intent of uploading them. So it feels weird to observe my language change when I make certain videos. But yeah, this video came from a lot of reflection on various instances. It came from me separating with more than one person for things that they couldn't change, and it also came from reflection within myself. I stumbled upon some screenshots of just me interacting and having conflicts when I was younger, and just watching the ways in which I've grown as far as my communication goes. And it really puts into perspective that people only change if they want to. And I know because I was one of those people. Um, I think it is common that if you meet anybody, they will tell you that they want to heal, and they will tell you if they're vulnerable enough, they will share things that they've been through and things that they want to heal from. But healing is not linear, and I think oftentimes the desire, like voicing the desire to heal from the things that hurt you and actually putting that into action, are two different things. And I think a lot of people never really make it that far. And accepting and acknowledging is a step, yes, but you have a long journey to go. And I just reflect on me when I was younger and how awful I was as a person. Not saying that I was an inherently bad person, but I was coping with and dealing with so much, and I had no support system. And unfortunately, he is an angel for me, but the first person that I ever dated is really one of the reasons that I was able to grow into this person that I am today. Like, I say it all the time. He was the first and only man that I dated, but he was like the one man that I'm like, yes, that's a good man. Because I went through so much when I was in high school, and emotionally, I just felt so many big feelings that I did know did not know how to transmute or alchemize into something purposeful. I didn't even know how to support myself, but I was just carrying all this luggage. And unfortunately, the person that I dated caught a lot of collateral of that. Like, I was depressed, I thought I had anxiety, was undiagnosed. I was dealing with like familial conflicts, housing insecurity, working two jobs, failing school. It was a lot. And on top of that, I had really severe daddy issues at that time. My trust was really bad. And when I got into my first serious relationship, I didn't really know how to be loved. And I think I also didn't know how to love in return. And we're young. This is high school. It was a learning experience for us both, but just to put into the perspective of somebody that comes from a broken home, that is like carrying so much baggage, and then like an average high schooler that maybe deals with like, yeah, my parents suck in this very surface level way, but your parents can take care of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a survival instinct and mindset that you have, versus me, who was just dealing with so much, but also wanting love so badly that I was willing to be bad at it. And I'm just very grateful that the first person that I was able to truly love let me figure that out, because I knew deep down inside I didn't want to be this damaged person, right? But I understood that it would take work for me to do that. And I think I did the work and I'm continuing to do the work. But what happens is that you gotta know when something is worth the labor. Um, but I resonate with people in the position of not knowing where to start, or being fair, being scared to make mistakes, or being afraid to be seen, and like all the fear that comes with loving and healing, not even in a romantic sense, but it is a lot to transform in that way, to unlearn behaviors and like reparentify yourself and refamiliarize yourself with the world under a whole new perspective. Like that is a lot. And it's not pleasant. um it's not comfortable. um you're basically just walking into the unknown and being forced to trust that you're gonna be good when you come out on the other side. And so I empathize with people who have deep rooted work to do but don't know where to start, or maybe get stuck at a certain spot, because I was there. Actually, let me see if I can find. I wrote this poem, which was crazy that I wrote a poem like this when I was so young. I had to be at least like 14 or 15. Like I was super young when I wrote this poem, but I wrote a poem about what it felt like my experience and my perspective on what love was. And I kind of think this poem is almost a manifestation in a way from what I want it to be, or where I want it to be with love. Like I knew that the concept and the idea that I had when it came to love, romance, friendships, and all the rest, familial love, I knew was corrupt, but I didn't know how I can change my perspective on those things if I never got the chance to experience what healthy love felt like. Oh, here it is. Should I read the whole thing? I'll read the whole thing. So this was a poem writing prompt that I wrote. Um, I believe that I wrote this before meeting the person and then altered it when I met him, but I'm not too sure. But in retrospect, writing this to a high schooler is crazy, but this tells you like how big my feelings were. And while that can be good when it comes to pleasurable emotions like love, it can be really bad when it comes to things like isolation, depression, and even anger. I'm not somebody that experiences anger really that deep, but yeah, like my feelings were super big. I was just water sign baby, that's how it is. Okay, here's the poem. It was second nature to me. I feasted on negativity like a goddess of the underworld. I felt comfort in my manipulative tendencies. I had a proclivity for excitement. I wanted to be thrilled, and toxicity was great for some fun. Arguments are healthy in relationships, right? What's a better way to spend the weekend than a blunt and a couple rounds of the blame game? There was nothing I loved more than to see a paragraph filled with lies. Extra points for some shitty emojis. Just for hindsight, when I wrote this, I just I was like dating this person, and they were a liar, and they would use a lot of emojis, and like I would use that person just for attention, or just like to feel loved even though I knew it wasn't good. And I would do that with so many people, but it was because I knew, because at this time I was dating men, like when I was younger, I knew that they wanted to use me for my body. And so I'm not going to give you my body. I'm going to use you for what I need. You'll never get what you need. So that's context. Love, hate, infatuation, zeal, artificial truth. It was a sign of power. It was constant reassurance without asking for it. I was always stuck between where I was and where I wanted to be, meaning where I was in love and where I wanted to be, because I knew that the love that I wanted to cultivate for myself did not feel like that and did not look like that, right? Upon your arrival, I wasn't really sure what to expect. Thank God I'm a stalker because it sure did last a while. The first few months were fun, they always are, but it was inevitable for my brain to torment the only good thing I had. We're too alike, we're too different, I'm too fucked up, he's acting weird, the sweetest taboo. I've never met someone whose light is so overbearing. Your success, your mindset, and even your faults were something that intimidated me, but quickly became my goal. The aura around you seemed so familiar, yet always so far away. You were never really candid with me, but I guess I could say the same. For so long, I had kept these hideous traits away from you, but mental illness was something I couldn't hide from you forever. Every attempt I tried to push you away, you pulled me in 2 times stronger, and I was afraid. I was ignorant to any positive emotions, but I wanted to change. For me, for you, for us, because us was my only prized possession. It taught me to say I love you without ever saying a word. It showed me what true happiness looks like and tore away layers of me that I've been trying to escape for years. So just know every compliment I meant and every insult meant opposite, and I only hope that one day you find internal peace and that when you look in the mirror, you see what I see. I know I'm not the best person, friend, or girlfriend, but I never want to ruin what ethereal serenade that we have created in such little time. Time was always this sort of distorted object that changed whenever it pleased. 1 year felt like 1 minute if you never wanted it to end, and 1 year feels like 1 century when you're dreading every minute. 1 year felt like 1 year with you, and that's the best description I can give you, and I hope that our time is never ending. Oh, this is so cute from the perspective of like little me in love. But yeah, I say that this feels like a manifestation for me because I had this goal that I wanted to be healthy, right? Like I was able to observe my environment and observe my actions and know that they're stemming from something and that they're not healthy. And I didn't want to be that way because, one, it didn't feel good to be harboring energy and emotion like that. But two, I desired healthy connections. Like, I desired to find a home within someone and have someone to come home to. And I also acknowledge and kind of feel a little bit of pride that other people can feel the same in me. And I think for so long and growing up, like having a parent that has mental illness, you learn to become a safe space for others. And you put on this mask, you put on these hats, like I'm your therapist, I'm your bestie, I'm your shoulder to cry on. But you have all of these bags that you keep pushing down, and it's not sustainable. And I always knew that I wanted to be different. And when I look at how I handled conflict when I was younger, I was very distrusting. Like, I didn't trust anything that man did. Like, one thing I was very attracted to, which obviously in retrospect because I'm attracted to women, is like he was very in touch with his masculine and his feminine energy, right? Like he was one of those guys that got the gay allegations, right? So in turn, he has a sister, like he hangs out with girls, and that at the time didn't trust that. What do you mean you're hanging out with her? What are y'all doing together? Why do you guys need to be out at 9 p.m., 10 p.m., right? Questioning all the time, just so skeptical and like moody. And I just couldn't help it was like a natural instinct for me for so long. And I feel so indebted to him that he was patient enough to understand that some of it was out of my control, but also still hold me accountable, right? And I kind of am a firm believer that some relational qualities or toxic traits that you have, you can't fix them alone. Like, if you remove all your triggers, how do you know if it still triggers you, right? Like, you ignore it until it comes back, and then it's out of your control, right? And yeah, there were so many instances where, in retrospect, I'm like, oh my god, that's so embarrassing. Like, I was so jealous, and I needed so much reassurance. And I'm not saying that I was just like this awful bitch, right? But I just know that I was a product of my environment at the time. And unfortunately, the people that are closest to you, they get to see the ugly parts of you. And I just feel grateful that when I was going through the hardest part, one of the hardest times of my life, I would say, I had someone that seen the ugly parts of me and still decided to work with me, right? And still decided to stay. And every time, I don't talk about like that ex often anymore because I'm just like so far removed from that relationship. But I'm so like, I will only say good things about him. You know, like, I don't know what he's doing in life, but you know, I hope he's doing great. And yeah, I'm not. And another thing about it is that the beautiful thing about growing with somebody, meaning like we were kids, and then like we were kids transitioning into adulthood, like high school to college, is that you have these natural conflicts that just come with two people learning how to grow and growing up and learning how to deal with them. And sometimes it's messy and sometimes it's hard, but when you get through it at the other side, it feels like very rewarding. You know, like he wasn't perfect either. There were a lot of guys are dumb, boys are dumb. There's a lot of things that he did that I think, yeah, he did deserve it. Maybe I was a little mean, but yeah, maybe he did deserve it, you know? But I think learning how to deal with conflict in a healthy way that is calm and understanding, and even when it does get overwhelming or intense, knowing when to take a break or when to circle back, knowing when you feel the volume of your voice rising to take a walk, you know, those types of things really set you up for life. I don't know. I just, yeah. So I I say all this to say I was thinking about it in terms of when I meet other people where I want to latch on to the potential of what they could be, or I want to meet them where they're at and try to take them where they say they want to be, right? Every person I meet says, yeah, I want to heal from this, and I value communication, and I want a partner that I can solve conflicts with, blah, blah, blah. And then you meet them and you see how they solve conflict, and you go, wow, there's a lot of work to be done, right? But my inner conflict comes from, when do you give people a chance, right? And how long do you give people a chance? And it's tricky because I think your body will tell you when it's time to leave, right? But I'm very sensitive to energy. I am. And I get frustrated. I want to guide people, but you can't. And that's why the more that I interact with people, it's easier for me to see the difference between people who want to change and people who don't. People who voice the desire for change and people that actually are doing the work behind the scenes, right? And it's a very visceral difference. I think it shows up in the way that they handle conflict. I think that is the biggest one, right? Because let's say somebody's unhealed, right? And they don't know. They don't know that anything's wrong. They think everything is fine. They think that their habits are fine. I think not knowing and understanding is a lot more damaging than knowing in most cases scenario, because usually when you hear people talk about this, it's the opposite, right? Like, you're really cruel if you know when you're doing a bad thing and you keep doing it. And that is true sometimes. But in my experience with people, if I'm yelling at you and I'm talking down on you and I don't even understand that my words have impact, or I don't even understand the impact of my words, I don't even understand that I am talking down on you, I can never step back, acknowledge it, and regroup, right? Because everybody slips up, everybody gets triggered. You know, I might have a problem where one day I get really frustrated and I say something. I say something mean out of spite. But because I'm aware about it and I have the ability to self reflect, I'm able to come back and go, I'm so sorry that I said this to you. This was coming from a place of blank. I'm not justifying the fact that I did this. And then we can come together to kind of move forward. And there's like this understanding and acknowledgement that you're doing things that are just like your natural body's response that you're trying to get out, but you're aware about it and you're going to fix it, right? And somebody that's not aware about it, they can't give you that acknowledgement and they can't take in your criticism. They can't see what you see, even if you try to explain it to them, right? And that's tricky. So yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot this week, today, and yeah, I'm not perfect by any means. I have a lot of things that I need to work on, but I think my goal is to always be better, like for myself, and then in turn for the people around me, because I want to cultivate something loving and sustainable. So yeah, it's hard navigating the world and people right now because everybody, I feel like most people understand the concept of growth and healing, but some people barely touch the start line and it's rough. And because I know that I came from such a rough place, I want to believe in other people too, but you really can't. And that's so sad to say, but it's the truth. So, yeah, that's my spitter take. This is Biggie. He's my second son. My first son is grown now. So this is my baby. Oh yeah. It's really funny because my two stuffies that I sleep with are boys, but I always said if I ever had a kid, I would only want it to be a girl. So that's how I know that I don't want to have kids, because if it's not a girl, I'm gonna be mad. And also, fuck them kids. Yeah, that was so random, but bye, Alex.